Hold on one second. Go ahead.
Let's call the meeting to order at 1:32 p.m.
Rudy Castellano,
Present.
Mike Martinez,
Present.
Travis Hearn, Mike Sweeney,
Over here.
Mike Cousin,
Present.
Maria Gilveri,
Present.
Meredith Britt. If you'll look at the last page of the packet, Meredith Britt has resigned her position on the committee. And I had put it for Maria to announce under announcements at the bottom, but that's why I'm not calling her name.
So just so you know, that means she is not part of the committee right now, so her number is not used against a quorum, Shawty, when you do your calculation.
Correct. Maria, is Travis, did he let you know he wasn't coming?
I believe he's taking care of a leak, so
Okay, he's excused.
yes.
All right, there is a quorum.
All right. Thank you very much. How is everybody today?
Good.
Great.
Counselor Michael Montoya is also present as well.
Thank you.
Hello, Councilman.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Okay, let's move along. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion. I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion, Mike Martinez, and a second from, what's that, Rudy? Was it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Opposed? Okay, did everybody get their pamphlets and see the minutes of the last meeting,
Yes.
November 2nd?
Yes.
We have a motion to approve those minutes.
I so move. I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Opposed? Okay, moving right along.
Let me interrupt for a second, just as we get used to certain things. If you notice, anybody who's got a screen will see in the upper left corner, this meeting is being recorded. This is how we're going to be able to provide it to IT for publication on YouTube. So if you ever don't see that REC up in the left corner, let us know so we can make sure we are recording these meetings before we get started. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bobby.
I did not receive any public input for this meeting via email or otherwise.
Okay, thank you, Shani.
Mhm.
Move on to business items. Okay, a presentation from the back-end angle parking. Maria?
So if you look in your packets, I've provided a couple of flyers. We will be implementing back-in angled parking. It's new to Las Vegas. We're going to be implementing it in the plaza area. The main reason is one of the goals of this project, along with improving the plaza area, was to add additional parking spaces. The engineer, through some previous research, documentation, was able to determine that angled parking adds probably roughly 20 to 25% additional parking. So to educate the residents on this, we are providing flyers in the monthly bills. We're going to be providing it on the city's website. And if one of the goals would be to create possibly a video that might help educate the public on these angled parking, on the change to angled parking. We will also be acquiring some back-in angled parking signs to help the public with this change. There will be signs that can be placed on a pole, as well as signs that are placed on like a sandwich board, something we can just move around as needed. So the benefits of back-in angled parking is better visibility when you're departing, a little bit more security when you're loading the tailgate of your truck or the back end of your vehicle, because the back end of the vehicle will be curbside. And it also assists with when you open the doors, the pedestrians or the people in the vehicle that are getting out of the vehicle will be, because the doors swing towards the roadway, it kind of guides kids and people to the curbside. So there was research done that showed that it is much safer for people to back in park. And then the angled parking, again, the benefit of that is the additional parking spaces. So you do have 2 flyers in your package. If anybody has any questions, I'm available to answer them.
I have a comment, Maria.
Yes, sir.
There's on the first page of the reverse angle parking pamphlet, there's a misspelling of traffic. It says one of the most common causes of accidents is people backing out of standard angled parking without being able to see oncoming traffic.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Make sure that gets corrected. Appreciate that.
No problem. All right. Is that the extent of the presentation for the back-end parking?
This was provided at the last city council meeting. The only additional information was I did show a YouTube video on examples of back-in angled parking, and I wasn't planning on showing that today.
All right, thank you. Number B, I understand all of these have been taken to council and awarded for discussion only.
Correct.
Award RFP. Excuse me?
Yes, correct. The ones for discussion only. When our utility advisory committee meetings were previously scheduled later on in the month due to trying to meet the requirements for broadcasting on YouTube and some of the other requirements of our committee meeting, we weren't able to hold these meetings before city council. We're now moving utility advisory committee meetings to the Tuesday before the first city council meeting. This month it happened a little different, but starting next month, it'll be the Tuesday before the first city council meeting. And the purpose of that is that's after the last day that we can turn in agenda requests for city council meeting, but before the first city council meeting. So if the committee has any advice or input for the council, I'm able to provide it to them. So these did happen after or before. Let me see. They were presented to council before this meeting, but after our last meeting.
Okay, so Maria, do we have to go through these and discuss them, or just skip through the 1 through 4 on?
Well, let me keep the committee informed on what we're doing, and if anybody does have any comments or input or questions, I'm available to answer. So the first one is we did rebid out engineering services for water distribution. And that went to Molson Corbin and Sauter Miller. The reason we rebid was there were some questions about our RFP packages. And so we wanted to address those and then resubmit the packages. And at that point, we did have 4 companies propose, and we selected the 2. They were ranked by a committee, and we selected the 2 highest ranked ones. One, as I like to have a backup, so if there's a lot of work with the first engineer, we have second engineer available. And in addition, the two engineers that were ranked the highest have been doing work for the city in the past. So we're continuing that, the projects that are already in progress and starting new projects. So it went to Moles and Corbin and Sauter Miller and Associates. Any questions?
Nay.
Not me.
Okay. The next award was for the rebid of Allen Bradley programmable controller products. So at wastewater, we have an Allen Bradley PLC, and we need a technician under contract for any repairs, replacements, or upgrades to that existing PLC. We had bid this out before, and even though Yukon was the only one locally in New Mexico that works on Allen Bradley, we could not, they just did not bid on it. So we had to put it out for rebid a couple of times until they were able to until they or anybody was able to put together a package that met our needs. We have used Yukon for many years. Usually it's been on a case-by-case basis and a quote-by-quote, which makes it really hard to do quick emergent work. Sometimes, like we've been working on SCADA, and when we have to do the 3 quotes that expire every 30 days, we can't get any emergency work done. So we're glad to have Yukon propose, and the panel did recommend that we award to Yukon for the maintenance of the wastewater treatment plant Allen Bradley PLCs. Any questions?
Not from me.
No, we're good.
Thank you. Number 3 is award the RFP for street and drainage improvements to Hot Springs Boulevard to Stantec Consulting Services. So Hot Springs Boulevard, the road work and the drainage improvements, that is a project that we've been working on for a while with Stantec. We took it to funding through CDBG, and it does look like we're gonna be awarded the funding to be able to do this road work after we, and what we're looking at is doing it after we do the utilities work. This project, the funding agency does require a specific contract, so we couldn't use an on-call contract for these services. And Stantec, trying to remember who the other company was that proposed. Both of the companies, the other one was Suina, and we had not, and they were actually non-responsive. They had a document they had missed that was required. They did not submit. So the panel went with Stantec, and the other benefit was Stantec was already at about 95% with the plans at the time. But due to procurement requirements, we still needed to put it out for RFP. That one is almost ready to go. We will be doing the utility work here soon as well.
Great.
Anybody have any questions on that one?
Yes, is that south of Mills Avenue, Maria?
It's south of Mills. This one's going to go from Mills to around San Miguel area. And that's just one of the phases. We intend to do all of Hot Springs to the plaza. But CDBG only funds $750,000. So we have to do the project in phases.
Okay.
Good question.
Maria, where is
Pardon?
Stantec out of?
Stantec is out of Tucumcari. They actually have several offices: Silver City, Tucumcari, Santa Fe, Albuquerque. They have several offices in New Mexico.
Okay, that was my only question.
They're formerly Engineers Inc. and Oakham Engineering. The company has evolved over time and been bought by other companies and enlarged over the last several years. So you might know them as Engineers Inc. or Oakham.
Okay.
And the
I have
last,
no.
okay. And the last one
No
on
more
the
questions.
discussion was to award RFB dash 2022-16 for construction and pavement reconstruction, drainage work, and other miscellaneous work on Romero and Salazar. Pacheco Construction and I believe Hayes. Let me see, how many proposers do we have? Just those two, Hayes and Pacheco came in at the lower price. So this was an RFB. The engineer did evaluate the company, found no issues with the company, reviewed their spreadsheet. I know there's been some questions asked about why there was the difference in prices, substantial difference in price between Hayes and Pacheco. Turns out Pacheco owns. We did ask. We wanted to make sure that there was nothing that was missed in the bid or that they didn't intend to go that low. There wasn't any discrepancy. So it turns out the company owns all of their equipment, owns all their facilities, so their overhead is much lower than some other companies. They have done a lot of work out on the east side of New Mexico, and they're wanting to work their way west and do more work in Las Vegas and other communities in this area. I was
Maria.
informed today that they did do the parking lot for the senior center. So that is one of their projects they have done in Las Vegas.
Mr. Chairman, Maria?
Yes.
So,
Yes,
so
go ahead.
on one of the spreadsheets it asked about if they were resident contractors and if they had a license to be a resident contractor, and they don't, but that means that they don't have to, right?
Now that's just a bonus. The city of Las Vegas has put, the council has put into our procurement package that if you're a local contractor, you get a bonus. You get a little bit of a bump because we want to try and use contractors out of Las Vegas. So they are a New Mexico company, but they're not a Las Vegas company.
Right, I noticed that because it said they weren't resident contractors, but which is fine. I understand, and I concur with the thinking that the city council is having in terms of trying to get local people. But you got, I appreciate going to the lowest bidder also in this case. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome, Rudy. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, is that all the questions for the award number 2022-16? Are we still there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I just didn't hear anything.
Dead air.
No question. That's because there's no questions, Mike.
Okay, thank you.
So,
move on to,
go ahead, Mr. Chairman. Sorry.
let's move on to committee recommendations. Number 1, recommendation for approval of resolution number 21-50, authorizing the purchase of a 930K wheel loader for solid waste from an expired lease belonging to Public Works.
And I do need to clarify this one on Mr. Chairman. This did go before council last week, since we didn't have this meeting before last council meeting. So it has been approved by council. The resolution was approved. So I'd look for any input or advice from the committee, but the council did approve this one. So the request is solid waste uses a loader and Public Works uses a loader, different reasons. And they both have leased equipment. Public Works' loader, it came to the end of its lease, which makes it eligible for purchase. It didn't have a lot of hours on it. So because of how much solid waste uses a loader, Public Works informed solid waste of this to see if they would be interested in purchasing it. And the answer was yes. Couple of reasons why having the additional loader is beneficial. When you lease, you are limited to a certain number of hours, and it becomes very costly if you exceed those hours. So this will give solid waste the ability to manage their leased equipment with this purchased piece of equipment. In addition, when we're doing demos, and currently we're doing a demo up on the west side of town. When we're doing demos, if it's during the normal work time for solid waste, they can't part with their loader because that's what's used to load and compact the trash. So having a second loader will also help there with demolitions. We did check to see if we could get out of the lease with solid waste, the lease solid waste currently has, and the answer from the leasing company was absolutely not. It was in the contract. Once we start it, we have to finish the lease. But this would be extremely beneficial, and we're going to be able to assess this at the end of the current lease with solid waste, and we'll still have this purchased equipment and kind of make a new assessment if we want to continue with a lease for solid waste or if we want to start going with purchased equipment, which usually you can get a couple more years out of, hopefully many more years out of than the 5 years that you get with the leased equipment. The cost of this was $73,000, and I believe it's at least $250,000 to buy one new. And with only, I think, 1,300, it was 1,300 miles. I don't know if that was miles or hours, but the number I was given was 1,300. This was still in very good shape and a good piece of equipment. And the manager at Solid Waste did want to purchase it, and he did look at his budget, and he does have the funds to be able to purchase this piece of equipment.
And Maria, the
Yes,
way
sir.
I understand it, you'll be saving $29,000 a year.
$29,000. I believe that's the annual lease amount. So it would be equivalent to that by having this piece of equipment that we're purchasing. But like I said, right now we have to finish out the current lease.
Yes. Okay.
So that's why I said owning instead of renting can save $29,000 per month. That's the leasing cost. So once we get past this lease and we make the determination, are we going to use purchased equipment, or are we going to continue with the lease? We'll have some more information. And that
Right.
that's $29,900 a year is what's paid at 5 years. So you're talking $150,000 is what we put into a piece of equipment before the lease is expired, and that doesn't include repairs, maintenance, or any other costs associated with wear and tear on a piece of equipment like that. The solid waste does also have several of the adapters and additional equipment that goes with this particular loader. So like the bucket and the grapple and some other appurtenances.
Maria, it sounds
Yes.
like me you're paying the full price of the loader anyway. You figure out the lease price, then add the purchase price to it, you're back at the $250,000 anyway.
So the lease price was about $150,000 is what solid waste put into it roughly, or public works put into it. And then so you're at about $225, but like I said, solid waste got a pretty good piece of equipment for the $73,000.
Right. They cashed in on the other department then.
Correct. Yeah, they got a good deal because the other department kept this in really good condition. Sometimes these pieces of equipment get really used and abused, and then it's not worth purchasing them at the end of the lease. But in this case, this one was.
Okay, so that's good reasoning. That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, any more questions or comments on the loader? Okay, let's move on to recommendation for approval of resolution number 2151 to accept match waiver for project number D19040.
So this one is the city has received funding from DOT for the Legion project. There is a portion of the DOT funding that is the city's responsibility, which in this case was $191,234.30. the city submitted a request to DOT, to the Transportation Fund to waive the match, and DOT concurred. So the city's responsibility of the $191,234.30 has been waived, and DOT will take care of that portion. So of the total funds requested, which was 3.8 million, the city will not have to pay any of that. If the project does exceed the 3.8 million, then the city will be responsible for any of the costs over that amount. We are required to do a resolution and submit it back to DOT accepting the match waiver.
Okay.
So we're going to be able to hopefully get the Legion done at no cost to the city, and thanks to DOT for helping us acquire this 3.8 million.
Sounds good. Any other questions about that? Anybody?
Nope.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like
Yes.
to put in sense there. It wasn't easy coming up with this kind of funding, but when you have people that are willing to work together, and also that are from Las Vegas, as you all know, the chairman of the New Mexico DOT is from Las Vegas, and we really ought to be appreciative of him, Mr. Walter Adams, and the commission, because I don't think any other community got this amount of money without it matching money. So this is history in itself. I think this is probably the most that Las Vegas has ever gotten at one whack. So it's pretty much used to road with the schools and the parks that are in there and the shopping centers and all that. So it's well worth it for us to repair it, the hospital being there and so forth. So they saw all that, and I thank them also, along with Maria. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
So,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Chairman, this is when we do get to the end of this one, after comments, this is from here on, we need to vote.
Okay.
I'd just like to thank
They're the ones that aren't.
Mr. Montoya for updating us and giving us information as to how we were able to get to the sweet deal. And it is appreciated. I'm sure that if those of us could pass the word around that these types of things are happening, I think it is important to give credit where credit is due. So thank you, Mr. Montoya, for allowing us to know that.
Thank you. And I might add on there that, in the past, we've had some representation from the north in our district, but not like this time around. So, even Mora was able to share part of that pie. And I think they got, actually, I think they even got a little bit more than us, actually, now that I remember. But they got it for a road that was pretty badly needed to be reconstructed. And so, it's not only us, actually, it's the whole District 4 that has benefited from this. As you have seen in the last year or two, they got Grand Avenue done, they got New Mexico Avenue done, and other projects. Now they're working on the entrance. Welcome to Las Vegas, on the north entrance to the city, and that's a DOT project. Right now they're putting boulders on there. So, we ought to be very, very thankful to the DOT, not because I retired from there, but because there are good people and they mean well for our communities. Thank you.
Here. Good idea.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Okay. You say from 3 on we need to vote on Maria?
Mr. Chairman, for this one, from number 2 on, it is, I'm requesting your recommendation and any input from the committee. So this is the committee recommendations from here on out.
Okay, do I hear a motion to recommend resolution 21-51?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion from Mike Martinez, a second from Mike Sweeney. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the committee.
Is, should we send, Walter Adams, some kind of a thank you letter or?
Mr. Martinez, the commissioner and the state district 4 engineer, Mr. Gallegos, have both been before mayor and council, and we acknowledge them with the Buen Vecino Award. And they were very grateful. They went before mayor and council, and they were very grateful. And I think that was sufficient, but it's all up to you. A Christmas card with a thank you would be nice. And I think Maria or the city manager might have some Christmas cards.
That'll work.
But again, I thank
Well,
you, the committee,
Yes.
for dissecting all the issues that go through there and making those recommendations, because they are important to mayor and council and to this community. If you would deny this request, our utilities department would be going in the wrong direction. We have money. There is monies available, and next year there'll be more monies available, hopefully, for more projects. So as long as we keep spending it rightfully, we'll keep getting it. So
True.
thank you very much, and also to staff. Maria has an awesome staff that a lot of times we don't recognize, and they do a lot of work for us, and they're under pressure all the time. But we thank them, and we thank Maria too. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor. Yes, we got a lot of good staff that are working on these road projects that are, with the support of council, they're becoming a high priority, and it's wonderful to see the support from the council and the support from DOT. We're getting a lot done. So Mr. Chairman, are we on to number 3? That was approved. Number 2 was approved, correct?
Yes, we've already had a recommendation for number 2. Number 3, recommendation for approval to purchase a 2023 Max 10 to 12-yard dump truck.
I so move.
You want me to give you a little bit of background on this, or?
yes, please.
So this Mack truck we had put in for, it may have been with some of the support of the council. This was actually put in for funding in last year's legislative session, and we did receive some funding. We got $40,000, and then the council provided the balance of the money through the general fund to be able to acquire this dump truck. So the purpose of this dump truck, we're doing a combination on this one. So we'll have the dump truck that we can use year round, but it will come with a snow plow and a salt spreader. So we can use it during winter time. And then during the summertime, the winter equipment can be removed, and we can just use the dump truck for hauling. So the total cost of this one is around $253,000, I believe. And so we're requesting approval to purchase this Mack truck. The reason it's 10 to 12 is that's actually how the quote came across. And Danny is verifying. I think it may be because there's some side rails that they could put on it to increase from 10 to 12-yard dump. But we're verifying the reason why the quote actually says 10 to 12 yards. But it is for the dump truck, the salt spreader, and the plow attachment from Bruckner's. And we'll be using a CES contract for that acquisition.
Could we get a guarantee that we're going to get snow for that use?
I would request everybody do the snow dance after we finish paving. Until we finish paving, this weather has been beautiful for paving. Once we're done here, then we can request the snow. But yes.
Thank you, Maria. Any other questions on the Mack dump truck or comments?
And there is bumper to bumper warranty on that, Claudia?
There is, let me verify the warranty. There is a warranty. There's a standard warranty. We've tried to look at the extended warranties, and they haven't always been beneficial.
That's why we have you there.
Yep.
You make the best possible.
I'll verify that warranty. Oh, 5-year, 250,000 mile engine. So 5-year warranty.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move to number 4, recommendation for approval to award RFP number 2022-17 for the rebid of the Great Blocks on Main Street project to Pacheco Construction and Trucking.
I don't believe, did we move on that last item?
No, I made a motion, but it wasn't seconded.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
We have a second by Mike Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Sorry about that.
Thank you. Motion carried.
So, Mr. Chairman, the number 4 is the award for RFP 2022-17. The city put out a bid for the Great Blocks project on Main Street. The Great Blocks project is an improvement of the railroad and Lincoln Road area right there near the train station, Castaneda, and a few other things there on Grand, off of Grand. This is going through a Main Street. Main Street is assisting with the funding and assisting with this project. We had put this out to bid, and the bids came in higher than the funding that we had available. So we were looking at ways of either requesting additional funding or lowering the cost of the project when, and Councilor Montoya, you can tell me, I think you were part of it, reaching out to Main Street to receive additional funding to address the cost of the actual cost of the project. So we did receive that additional, or we were offered that additional money. I think we're going through the process of signing the paperwork. So additionally, we had, I think it was 400,000 and 150,000. So we had 550,000 in funding available, and the project was more expensive than that. It's 200,000 to 300,000 more expensive than that. So we sought additional funding from Main Street, and they did again acknowledge providing us the additional funds. So, but it passed the 30 days. We're required to award something within 30 days. So we sent it back out to bid because the bids had expired by that time. And in this case, we received, and at that point, we only got, I believe, 2 quotes, and they were really high. This time we received 3 quotes, 3 bid proposals. And one of them came in at a really nice price of $768,189.06. That does include GRT. That is Pacheco Construction. So again, the architect went and evaluated Pacheco. They came back as an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. There was no issues or concerns from the architect's perspective. So this is an RFP, so we're requesting to award to the low bidder, which is Pacheco, and move forward with this project. We're pretty excited about improving that area. It is some physical improvements along with some aesthetic improvements. So we're going to take care of the roadway, some ADA ramps, the sidewalks, some vegetation, and this will cover the Lincoln to the intersection of Lincoln and Railroad, and then it'll go out a little bit north and a little bit south of that intersection. And this, I believe, is phase 1. So this will be a multi-phase project, Great Blocks project to improve this area.
Is it mostly landscape, Maria, or?
No, there's concrete work, asphalt work, landscaping. Let me look at the drainage. They're going to work on drainage and gutters, concrete, lights, light poles, electrical, improve the electrical in the area. They're also going to be improving the parking at the train station. The parking layout there is really not efficient. So they're going to be removing and improving cleaning up and improving that parking area there in front of the train station to make more parking available for customers. In addition, there's striping and pavement work and
Well, there's a lot to it.
Go ahead.
There's a lot to it, and that railroad parking does need lots of improvement.
So there was a main bid and then some alternates, and that's the depot parking lot, pavement work, median work. So a lot of concrete and asphalt work. We're pretty excited about moving forward with this project.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know, the lack of the funding that was lacking, $300,000, it came because Councilman Romero and myself and city manager went to a conference, outdoor conference in Farmington, New Mexico, about 2 months ago or so. And that's where we were able to make the connections and then have meetings afterwards to be able to get the additional money that was required. So that is coming also from the EDC in San Jose. So we're very appreciative of being able to do that and having that opportunity to attend that conference. Otherwise, we'd be on our own out here, and they were going to cut the project in pieces in order to meet the budget, which is not a good thing. So now, hopefully, that project will start, bid out and start and be a nice project for Las Vegas and for that district.
Right.
Thank you very much.
thank you very much, Councilman. That's a very good point to make, and we're appreciative of it also. I ask for a motion to recommend for approval of the award RFB 2022-17.
I so move.
I'll second that
Mr. Chairman,
motion.
Yeah, go ahead, Rudy.
You got two motions at the same time. It doesn't matter to me which one you recognize.
Okay, we had a motion from Mike Sweeney and a second from Mike Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Let's move to number 5.
Mr. Chairman, number 5 is a request for approval of addendum 1 to the DAG contract. That's Diego, the diesel services company in town. Last year, he was awarded the contract for diesel services, and it's at the end of the year. We're bringing back all contracts to council to request addendums. He has provided very good service to us. Especially in response. He has responded when we call him at 5 o'clock in the morning when our packer trucks have issues, and he works really hard to do quick turnover on the packer trucks. One of the challenges is we have so much equipment that needs work that he can't always work on it. So sometimes we have to take some equipment to other places, especially if it's equipment that we don't necessarily need an hour turnover or a 2-hour turnover. But things like our packer trucks, we don't have time to send them to Albuquerque or Santa Fe. We need them back on the streets as quick as possible. And Diego always works with us on that. One of the questions or one of the pieces of information I wanted to provide to everybody is kind of an understanding of how much we do spend with Diego every year. And it's between, in 2019, we spent $275,000. In 2020, we spent $221,000. One of the changes that's happening is we're on a rotation with new packer trucks. Instead of keeping our packer trucks to the point where they are well past their life and they're very costly to maintain, we're working on purchasing 1 or 2 packer trucks every year and cycling the older ones out. And you can start to see that in the decrease in cost of maintenance. Wastewater will spend around $30,000 a year with their heavy equipment. Gas will spend about $10,000 a year with their heavy equipment. Water is about the same. Water treatment plant spends very little there. They have some smaller equipment and the generators that sometimes we'll need work on. But solid waste is the biggest user of Diego services. And again, that's mainly due to his response. He'll come out to the solid waste facility to work on a truck. He will drive up to Wagon Mount if a vehicle has ended up on the side of the road. And like I said, he'll answer his phone at 5 o'clock in the morning. So we're requesting to continue with his contract and request approval of addendum number 1. So it'll be the second year of this contract. And so that's my request from the committee and from the council is to go ahead and approve addendum number 1 to the DAG contract.
I'll make a motion to approve that, Maria.
Second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Mike Martinez and a second from Rudy. All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Opposed?
And just a little bit of information, some slight information on that. Solid waste has in their budget for this year, and hopefully we can get it done this year. If not, we'll roll it into next year. And that is to build a maintenance facility, a storage facility, so we can keep some of our Packer trucks indoors. It'll also give us a place for there is some maintenance that my staff does. They'll do the maintenance that they can do, especially when they're the newer vehicles and they're still under warranty. We have to take them to either a certified mechanic, so we'll take them to MCT, or if it's a specialty work that my staff can't do, then we'll take it to DAG. But the work that they can do, they do right now. They do it on the dirt. They do it on the ground, and so we're working on giving them a place to actually maintain their trucks and keep them indoors. So, as a side note, we're working on improving our storage of our equipment. And gas and water are doing the same thing. They purchased a lean-to, a shed, for all of their heavy equipment, so they can keep it out of the water.
As long as they're not those carports.
So thank you for approving that one to the committee. I appreciate that. The last one on your committee or on this agenda, I will tell you, it was actually been pulled from the city council meeting, not because we don't still want it, but because after we looked at it, we realized we didn't need it to be on the city council agenda. So I'll still go ahead and provide you the information. And that's the request for the approval of the Independent Street South Side Sidewalk project. So as I think some people may know, West Las Vegas is installing a ball field in their property off of Independence. And there's really not a good sidewalk along Independence to get people from South Pacific to that ball field. So we looked at it. We were asked to look at being able to put in a good sidewalk there. JJ & Son is already under contract with the city, so we don't need to do a new contract. This does fit within the approved contract that council has already approved. In addition, council actually, not that long ago, council had a meeting to specify where some money would be spent, and this was one of the projects that Councilor Romero had requested, was making sure that we could put that sidewalk in. So we have already tasked Mr. Mark Dominguez with installing that sidewalk. So we talked to procurement, and we didn't need to put it on the council council agenda, and they have enough stuff on the agenda, so we went ahead and pulled it off. But I did want you guys to know that the city is moving forward with several sidewalk projects in addition to road projects to improve pedestrian access.
Yeah, on those, Maria, maybe you could also send Mark Dominguez and Diego Grego a Christmas card of appreciation. That they're working really good work. I'm not the inspector, but I drive by it all the time, and I really approve of Mark Dominguez's concrete work.
Well, we kind of worked Mr. Dominguez into the ground over the last few weeks with trying to get some projects done before Christmas. So I owe him probably much more than a Christmas card. He's been very helpful.
Yes.
Thank you very much for acknowledging that. 'Cause I acknowledge that myself also.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I have a question.
Councilman Montoya.
Yes, I have a question for Maria. So what's the amount of this project and where's the funding coming from? Is that out of the 350 that was for each ward?
Give me a second, Counselor. It's I think it's about $60,000.
63,245.28 plus New Mexico GRT.
Thank you. So it's $63,000, and it is coming out of, I believe it is coming out of Councilor Romero's designated funds.
Okay, thank you. Now, as the committee might be aware, with the monies that we got 4 months ago, we divided 4 shares for 4 different wards for sidewalk improvements, and that was in the amount of $345,000 for each ward, for each councilman to identify places that in dire need of sidewalk repairs or new sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Did we already? Well, we don't need to vote on number 6. Let's move on to monthly report. Did everybody get the monthly report, or?
I apologize, monthly reports were not provided to the committee.
And I'll have to take responsibility for that. I did not get them out in time, but I can give everybody an update on projects. The big projects right now is still going to be Bridge Street. That one is they're paving. Currently, they're paving North Gonzales and Valencia today. And we hope to get to 12th Street here soon. And we'll finish off that those portions. They're doing sewer line work on the South Pacific side of the plaza in front of PD. And they are going to be doing a little bit more concrete work around some bump outs on Bridge Street and some raised crosswalks around the plaza on Bridge Street. But we're going to hold off on those raised crosswalks until after Christmas. The raised crosswalks do require about a 7-day cure time, so we do not want to shut down the plaza for 7 consecutive days, or 14 because we have to do it in 2 different sections. So we did get some feedback from the merchants. They requested that we hold off until after Christmas, after the new year, so that we didn't impact them any more than they've already been impacted. And the schedule for the contractor is allowing for that. The city may need to give the contractor a little bit of additional time, but that was what was best for the business owners in the area. And then we'll have a little bit of work, a little bit more ADA work down off of 12th Street. 2 additional projects that have been not added to this project, but they'll be done in conjunction with this project. And Councilor Montoya had mentioned it, that there was some funding made available to different councilors for their individual wards. And there was a request to do from the end of this project on 12th Street to Douglas. And there was a request to do from the plaza on National all the way up to New Mexico. So the contractor, separate projects, gave us a cost estimate using the existing prices for the plaza project. So he's holding those prices for us, and it fits within the budget. So we'll be doing 2 additional roadway projects separate from the plaza project, but it'll be done in conjunction with. So they'll be milling and paving here on those projects as well. And that came out of the $345,000 that each one of the wards received for roads and sidewalks.
And what's the location of those projects?
So one will be from approximately in front of the Skillet. So this current Bridge Street project did do a little bit of asphalt work on 12th Street. And that work with the plaza project ends about where the skillet is. So this additional project will pick up where that project ends and go all the way to Douglas and a little bit past Douglas.
Yeah,
And then
that does need it.
And then the other project is to do the roadway on National in front of the courthouse by PD. So it's going to take it from where the Plaza project ends on National, right there at the grate between the PD and the antique store, and it'll go all the way up to New Mexico Avenue. Then this did pertain to 12th Street. Once we were aware that this was a potential, redirected water to immediately go out and assess their water lines under 12th Street. And we made some determinations. There's actually 2 water lines under 12th Street, and we have regular issues with those water lines. And so the staff addressed those issues. They're getting off of the old deteriorating line, and they're going to stay on the newer line. And they replaced some valving. So before we did this road work, we did get water out there to make sure that we could take care of as many issues as we could before we pave.
Very well planned, Maria.
So we're pretty excited. Again, all these road projects, we're loving these road projects and the water projects. We got some projects up at the water treatment plant. We're working on we have some funding from the state, about 2.3 million to do the track vac system, which is one of the parts of the cleaning up there of the water, the high-speed pumps. We also have some funding to work on the effluent going to Hanna Park, SCADA system. So these are all projects that are now moving into the RFB portion. So we're going to be putting these projects out to bid if they haven't already been completed. The Hanna Park one is done. Contractors under contract, and we'll be running sewer line and effluent line, a little bit of sewer line work and a lot of effluent work to get effluent out to Hanna Park.
That'll be a good thing.
Maria, what's the status of the water plant filters?
So what we're trying to do right now is get all of the parts that are underneath the filter media that have been buried for decades. We're trying to get those on hand so that once we remove the filter, once the contractor removes the filter media, those valves can be replaced. So we're currently working with the engineer to verify what size valving to make sure that that the contractor has the right parts on hand. And once we have made sure we have the contractor make sure they have all the parts on hand, they already have the filter media material. And we've already been through at least one tabletop exercise. We'll go through at least one more because this will take one filter offline for a minimum of a week. And I'm going to say it's probably going to be more likely a couple of weeks that we'll have one filter offline. So we'll only be working with 3 filters. So we're trying to make sure that we address all possible situations and concerns before we take that offline. Because once we take it offline, there's nothing we can do until we remove the media, bring it back online. So we want to minimize any potential incidents by making sure we've addressed every possible concern. So we're still working on it. To answer your question, Mike, until we're all comfortable that we've thought about every possible thing that could go wrong, we're not quite ready to take it offline. As a side note, we're trying to get the well field online as well. So we changed out some disinfecting equipment, chlorine residual monitor. We did some with the notification system there, the dial-up system. We're going to try and get the well field online before we start this project. It's not required, but we're trying to do both of those at the same time as a redundancy.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you, Maria.
Sure. Are there any other projects I can give anybody an update on?
Can I make a comment before we get to member comments, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Rudy.
I just would advise for somebody to take note of the 9th Street behind the Eagles. It's kind of eroding the street there, and I appreciate all the projects that are going on right now, but if somebody could put that on the back burner and maybe look at it and evaluate whether it needs to be repaved or something, because it's kind of terrible.
9th Street behind the Eagles?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy. Okay, let's move on to announcements. And I think we all already heard that Meredith Britt is resigning from the committee or has resigned.
I've submitted a request to the mayor for a replacement for Ward 3 for Meredith. So he is aware that we are short one representative for Ward 3.
Okay, and does, if he finds that, what does he do? Is he just,
He'll take it to council and inform the council, I believe, and they'll make a decision on the committee member.
okay, thank you.
And thanks to Meredith.
Yeah, send Meredith a big old thank you card also, if you would please.
Yeah.
And then on number 2, a meeting date change for Tuesday before the first council meeting of each month.
And for now, we'll continue to do it through video conferencing like this
Yeah.
till further notice.
Okay, and then any member comments?
No,
I do appreciate the input from the committee on areas like roadways or signage or speed bumps or water concerns. I'll give you a situation. So right now I have a customer that has a really small water leak that we've been wanting to get to, but we've had a water leak on 6th Street. We needed to address the water lines under 12th Street before we paved. And so with the projects, we do have to prioritize. We have more projects than we can do. Over time, we get them all done, but sometimes we have to make that decision. But sometimes I'm not aware of how many small leaks there are in town. We don't always see them throughout the entire year. So I do appreciate those customers and committee members and counselors that bring it to my attention, as well as any needs from our constituent, or not our constituents, counselors' constituents, but my customers. For instance, right now, with the gas prices going up, there's going to be a lot of customers that are going to have a challenge paying for their gas bills this year. So we are working on a equivalent of a kind of like a good neighbor program or a utility bill assistance program, where we'll be adding to the bill how people can make donations to a fund that is solely used to provide a little bit of assistance, financial assistance, back to customers who may need some help with their bills. We're currently working on the SOP for that to ensure that there are levels of accountability and levels of responsibility in making the decision.
Oh, question.
Go ahead. Use that money wisely.
Maria, question. Are we getting a new community development director?
I am not aware of the answer to that.
Okay.
I know that they published for that position, but I am not aware of anything more than that. So we are looking at trying to help customers out. If you do know anybody in your neighborhoods, in your wards that are in need, that have an outstanding bill, please have them contact customer service. We do have programs, and we do help guide people to whether it's LIHEAP or the help office. We also do have people, we kind of connect people with, there's another program that the state is running where they might be able to get a little rental assistance or utility assistance. So if we can get people, and we publish this on websites, we try and put out flyers in the bills, but if we can sit down one-on-one with customers and residents, we can find out exactly what their particular situation is and kind of guide our recommendations to their particular needs. In addition to this possible, good neighbor or help thy neighbor fund. But sometimes people don't realize that if they come in, we can help them find a form of assistance for their bills.
Thank you, Maria. These are real life situations that people are faced with daily. So we should appreciate that, at least the openness to help. And I think that as it happens, people will become more aware of it.
Well, I'll tell you, I had a customer call me and they asked who they could help. They wanted to help people. And this is really before we've really set up this fund. And so that communication with that one customer, I said, what I could do is I could get some people who my staff know are on fixed incomes or elderly or having challenges. They're not people who choose not to pay their bill. We don't have any other kinds of issues with them. They just need a little bit of help. And I'm connecting people together. So if you know of anybody or you want to help one customer, if you'll reach out to me, I can help connect you with a customer that needs help. Or if you know somebody and you want to anonymously help them with their bill, we will make that happen.
Great.
Thank you very much, Maria. Any other member comments? Rudy,
No, thank you.
Mike,
No,
Mike Martinez.
Yeah, just thank all your supervisors and all your foremen and all your workers for their hard labor and everything seems to be running smooth. I see them on the job and I'm really impressed.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
And everybody have a happy Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes, from all of us.
Merry Christmas to you all.
Regular meeting-
What I'll tell you
Sorry,
one thing that I would appreciate from everybody, we are getting from a lot of people now, is we've had a lot of negative comments on social media because people were not aware of the process with the utilities and then the road in Plaza. And now that it's a lot of it's done, we're getting some great comments, but it's still not all getting out to the public who may have some misinformation on this project. So if you know anybody who wants some information on the project, please send them to me. I'll fill them in. I'd like everybody to know, why it takes several weeks, if not months, to replace water lines, what's involved. It's not simply dropping some lines in the ground and you're done. With the pressure testing and the disinfecting and working around other obstacles. Projects do take a little bit of time, but we want to do them right so that we're not coming back here 6 months later with a water leak or with a failing road. So thank you to everybody for your support.
And thank you
Thank you, Maria.
for work and hard labor.
Yes.
Okay, the next regular meeting is January the 4th, 2022, 1:30 p.m. Like to adjourn the meeting at 2:40 p.m.
Yes.
thank you. God bless one and all.
Yes. Bye-bye. Merry
Thanks,
Christmas.
Mike.
Merry Christmas.
all of you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you for attending, Councilman.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you all and your families. Stay safe.
Thank you.